What's up? Good morning. It is December 9th, I believe, and it has just turned to 7 o'clock in the morning. So I am not fully awake yet, so I apologize. But today I wanted to do a full day of eating type video. I just kind of want to document what a typical day looks like for me nutrition-wise on a training day. I thought it'd be cool to kind of make this one, just to show people what a typical day looks like for me, but two, it'll be really interesting to see just where I'm at in my season, which I'll get into in a little bit, in my bodybuilding season, where my food will go from here over the course of the next couple months. So what you just saw was my morning routine. I like to cook all of my meals for the whole day, regardless of whether it's a training day or a non-training day, first thing in the morning. I've been doing that for the past probably 3 years, I would say. I've been doing that. My main reason that I enjoy doing it is because it completely eliminates all of the excuses as to why you can't have your food. You know, you don't have the food ready, you don't, whatever. So I'm a huge fan of eliminating all of the excuses that you could possibly have for missing a meal, not having your meals ready, eating the wrong types of food, all those kinds of things. This is something that you have to be very proactive about if you're serious. So you need to find time to cook your meals. So I prefer to cook my meals the day that I'm going to eat them. If I have a really busy day, like say today was just super busy from the time that I woke up to the time that I went to bed, I just had, my whole schedule was packed. I would have made my meals last night before I went to bed, so that when I woke up this morning, they were already done, and I could just grab them out of the fridge and go. I prefer to cook them fresh on the day that I'm going to eat them, mainly because of the proteins. I eat a lot of lean proteins that don't have a lot of fat in them, so by default, those proteins are a little bit more dry. I have found that if I make them the day before and I reheat them like 24 hours later, they're even more dry, and it's already hard enough to eat the food. It's just makes it even harder to have to eat food that doesn't taste good. So the rice, I have a rice cooker, and I put the rice in overnight. So when I wake up in the morning, all of my rice for that day is already cooked, and I just distribute it evenly across all of the meals that I have rice in. But the meats I prefer to cook the day of, because it just makes them taste better. So first thing that I like to do every morning is I like to drink a full shaker cup of water before I eat any of my meals, for many reasons. One, I train early in the morning. I train after one meal, so it's very important for you to be hydrated going into your sessions, but even more so important the earlier that you train, because I just slept for 7.5, 8 hours. So that's 7.5 to 8 hours that my body is gone without getting any water. So first thing in the morning is when your body's going to be the most dehydrated that it's going to be. So that's when it's the most important to hydrate. I also find that if I stay dehydrated, not only does it impact my training, but it impacts my digestion considerably. When you're eating a lot of food, your digestive health is unbelievably important, because you're going to see when you're eating this much food day in and day out, it's unbelievably important that your digestive system is healthy, because this is already hard as it is, eating as much food as this is. This, I personally don't feel like this is a lot of food. I've eaten much more than this before, and I will be eating much more than this. So I'm not saying this today is a lot of food, but I'm saying in the grand scheme of everything, when you're kind of in a bodybuilding off season, on a food that you're eating is considerable, and it's already hard as it is. And if your digestive system is really struggling to keep up, this is going to be even harder than it already is. So speaking of off season, I just kind of want to quick touch on where I'm at in my season as a bodybuilder, because this is going to make the whole full day of eating make sense. So I'm kind of at a point right now where I am in the off season, so my goal is to improve and to kind of get bigger, obviously, but to push my body weight up. But there are different phases within an off-season setting, in my opinion. At least that's how it should be. I'm kind of in a setting right now where I am really slowly creeping my body weight up. I am not actively, aggressively pushing my body weight up. I will be doing at least one, if not a couple phases next year in 2021 where I am aggressively pushing my body weight up. So it'll be interesting to see if I make a full day of eating video on, at that time, you'll be able to see like how much my food has increased from now until then in order to aggressively push my weight. But right now I'm just kind of slowly creeping my weight, and this calorie level kind of has me gaining about a half a pound a week or so, give or take. Performance in the gym has been great. Digestion has been great. So yeah, there's really nothing to complain about. It's just ticking the boxes and doing the do every day. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get my first meal ready, and then I'll see you guys at the table for meal one. So we're sitting down for meal one. Meal one is gonna be, I hope you guys can see this. Meal one is gonna be 113 grams, oddly specific, of jasmine rice, 140 grams of 96% lean ground beef, and then 50 grams of spinach. For this meal, I'm gonna go with Old Faithful, the Kraft fat-free Italian dressing. This stuff is really, really good on everything, but especially I find with beef meals, it really goes good. So even when I'm bulking or even when I'm in the off season, I still like to use lower calorie, like sugar-free, fat-free, like alternative condiments. Main reasoning for that is, you know, if I'm gonna add 10 grams of carbs to a meal from using a condiment, I would rather get those 10 grams of carbs from something like more rice or more potato or more bread or something like that. Something that's actually gonna benefit my body instead of getting 10 grams of carbs more from sugary corn syrup. So this is not only meal one, but this is also my pre-training meal. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this down, and then about an hour or so after I finish this meal, I'm gonna leave to head to the gym. So I'm gonna see you guys in the car then for the second meal. Okay, so we just got to the gym and we're actually in the parking lot of the gym right now. So now's gonna be the time where I go over meal number two, which is this right here. So meal number two is my intra-workout shake. Intra just means during, so I will drink this shake during my workout. So in here, I've got 45 grams of a carb powder. That's 45 grams of the product, which gives me 45 grams of carbs. And then I also have 10 grams of EAAs, 15 grams of hydrolyzed whey protein, and then I also have 5 grams of creatine and a little bit of sea salt in there as well. So I'll go in and I'll start doing my warm-up and my mobility work. And then once I start doing the first set of my first exercise, I'll start drinking the shake. I usually drink the whole thing actually pretty quick. So I usually drink some people will sip their intra-workout over the course of the entire workout. I drink mine pretty fast. I get mine down in about a half hour. So I kind of, if you're familiar with this concept, I kind of like front load the nutrients at the beginning of my workout so that it helps fuel the session more. So I'm more deliberate about getting it in. I'll actually start drinking this probably about a half hour from now, and then about an hour from now it'll be gone. And then after that, I'll just fill the bottle up with water, and I'll drink water throughout the session just to keep myself hydrated. Once I get home, I usually have 20 minutes to take a shower or something, and then I sit down and then I eat again. So I'll show you guys what that is when we get back to the apartment. But for now, I'm gonna go in and hit this pull session. Pull is always such a hard session, and it's a long session for me too, because I have a lot of different exercises that I do, obviously for my back. But then I also have a lot of leg frequency work in my pull sessions at the moment. So my pull sessions are basically an entire pull session plus a couple extra sets of leg work. So almost like a mini leg workout. So pull sessions are just so long, and they're probably, if not harder than legs, just as hard as legs. Because I do RDLs on my Romanian deadlifts on my pull days, and those just absolutely destroy me. So this session's going to be horrible, but horrible in a good way. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to knock this out, and then we'll see you guys back at the apartment for the post-workout meal. Okay, so we just got back from training. It was a really good pull session. I am pretty tired and pretty fried after it, so I'm ready to eat. Post-workout meal is 135 grams of cereal. I use Choco Krispies, or Choco Krispies, I think that's how you say them. They're actually the Spanish version of Cocoa Pebbles. I just happened to be walking down the international foods aisle of Walmart one day, and I saw the cereal there, and it's actually cheaper than the American version, and it has less fat, and it has healthier ingredients. So I was like, holy shit, this is a gem. Had to get it. So 135 grams of that, and then I'm doing one serving, or 32 grams of whey isolate. I use Dimetized ISO 100, which is a hydrolyzed isolate mix. That's about 25 grams of protein from there. And then I'm washing that all down with this, which is just 5 grams of BCAAs. And then I have some more salt in there, again, to replenish electrolytes and everything. Why am I having BCAAs on top of a whey protein? To be 100% honest with you, I got these BCAAs for free from work, so I'm just trying to get them used up and get them out of the cabinet. There's really no reason why I would be drinking the BCAAs with the protein, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna eat this, and then I'm gonna take a shower, and then I gotta get to work, so we will catch up at the next meal. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours since I've had my cereal and whey post-workout, and I'm at work now, so it's time to sit down and eat meal 4. Meal 4 is going to be the same exact thing as meal number 1, 113 grams of jasmine rice, 140 grams of 96% lean ground beef, and 50 grams of spinach. To get this one down, instead of using the fat-free Italian, I'll be using the no sugar added Heinz ketchup. I called the fat-free Italian the go-to, the classic this morning. This really is the classic. This is good shit. If you've used this, you know. So same exact thing as meal number 1, same foods in the same amounts. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tuck into this now, and then 2 hours later, I'll catch up again with meal number 5. Okay, so it's been 2 hours since the 4th meal, the second beef meal. So I'm going to tuck into meal number 5 now. Meal number 5 is not the same exact thing as the last meal, but it is pretty close. I have the same exact 113 grams of jasmine rice and the 50 grams of spinach. But instead of 140 grams of beef, I have 140 grams of salmon. So I use a wild-caught salmon. I highly recommend to anybody, all my clients, if you're going to use fish as a protein source, to get wild-caught fish. So one of the reasons why I'm using salmon in this meal is not only to break up the monotony of eating the beef all the time, but you'll see at the end of the day when I throw my macros up, I actually eat a pretty low-fat diet. I don't eat a lot of fat within my diet. And contrary to what a lot of people say about eating low-fat diets and how low-fat diets aren't good for you and your hormones and all these other things, I don't actually think that eating a low-fat diet is a bad thing. One of the things that is very important to me if you're going to follow a low-fat diet is that the fats that you do choose within your diet are optimal for health and performance. And I think that salmon, I've talked about this on my channel before, but I think that salmon is without a doubt one of the best, not only one of the best protein sources, but one of the best fat sources as well. the amount of omega-3s in wild-caught salmon compared to in any other protein source is going to be significantly higher, and the omega-3s are essential fatty acids. So I like to incorporate salmon in as one of my meals, even on a low-fat diet, because I think that the omega-3s are very, very important for health and performance. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to eat the salmon meal, and then in about 2 hours we'll catch up again for meal number 6.
2 hours later.
Okay, so still at work here, but the alarm just went off at the 2-hour mark, so it's time to eat again. Meal number 6 is the same exact thing as meal number 1 and meal number 4. 113 grams of rice, 140 grams of beef, 50 grams of spinach. So this is the 3rd time today that I'm having this same exact meal. This time I'm using fajita marinade to give the meal some flavor. I'll toss it up here or there, whatever, just a little B-roll footage of what it looks like. I posted this stuff on my Instagram the other day. This stuff is so good. I'd found it at just a random grocery store. So yeah, as you can see, this is not a very interesting lifestyle. This is just a lot of monotony, eating the same foods all the time. I really don't mind it, honestly. Like, mentally, it's not something that I struggle with. I know a lot of people probably couldn't eat the same thing every day at the same time. Like, that would just be ridiculously monotonous for some people. But that's not something that I really mentally mind. I actually prefer to eat this way because it's easier for me to just kind of know what I'm going to eat and then just eat it and get on with my day. That I add some variety to it is, if you notice by now, every time I've had this beef meal, I've had a different condiment on it. So that's just a little something that I do just to kind of keep it fresh. And I'm always looking for new stuff at the grocery store and seasonings and all that type of stuff. So I absolutely hate and I despise the excuse that people say eating healthy has to taste bad and eating the same stuff all the time. Like, that's so boring. You are an adult, you're a human being. You can get creative and you can find ways to make your food have some variety to it so that you can stick to a diet plan. So this will be the last meal that I'll have at work, and then I'm gonna head back home, and then I'll have one more meal for before I go to bed. So I'll see you guys at meal 7. Okay, so just sitting down for the last meal of the day. This is meal number 7. So I have 2 whole eggs. I have another 85 grams of the 96% ground beef. And then with my last meal, this is the only meal where I kind of give myself some options. I need to get 70 grams of carbs, and I just basically choose where I'm going to get those 70 grams of carbs from based off of whatever I'm craving at that point. So my usual go-tos is I'll either use potatoes, I'll use bread of some sort, whether it's actual bread or bagels or English muffins. I'll either use cream of rice or I'll use Rice Krispie cereal. So tonight I'm going with the Rice Krispie cereal just because that's what I feel like eating tonight. So total macros for the day I'll put on the bottom here. But right now I'm eating 3,860 calories on a training day with 602 grams of carbs, 44 grams of fat, and 257 protein. This is my highest fat meal of the day, and I specifically put it before I go to bed so that the fat kind of like slows the digestion down while I'm sleeping. So I have more nutrients in my body while I'm sleeping. So that's just kind of the thought process behind why I have more fats towards the end of the day, especially in a low-fat diet. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get into this and then get to bed because I am very tired. It's been a long day. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, share it around. If you have any comments or suggestions, let me know.